Hello, and welcome to President Pat's podcast at North Shore Community College. I'm Dr. Pat Gentili, proud president of North Shore Community College in Massachusetts. Today's podcast topic is combating student hunger at North Shore Community College. Now, this topic is timely because recently the United States Government Accountability Office, the GAO, released a report on food insecurity for college students. This report confirmed with what many of us in colleges serving lower-income students already know. Many of our students are so poor that they can go without much food and are persistently hungry. How can we expect our students to do well academically if they can't meet their basic needs? Awareness of a problem is the first step to solving it, so kudos to the GAO for a national study on hunger on college campuses, to two Massachusetts senators, Warren and Markey, to Stabenow and Murray for requesting this report, and to my colleagues Dr. Pam Ettinger, president of Bunker Hill Community College, and Dr. Ellen Kennedy, president up there at Berkshire Community College, for raising our combined three voices to get this study done. But now that we've got compelling national data on the program and the problems, we need to figure out what we can do to address them. So although we can think nationally about poverty and hunger, we also have to act locally. And that's why I'm here today with Dr. Jermaine Williams, North Shore's Vice President of Student Affairs. Dr. Williams oversees our college's student support services, among other responsibilities. Hello, Jermaine. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast to fill us in on what's been developing at North Shore Community College related to student hunger.
Hello, Pat. It's a pleasure to be here with you talking about this extremely important issue today.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how we became aware of the problems on our own campuses?
Absolutely. I'd love to take a moment to do that, and want to commend those who came before you and I. And there was a shock voucher set up when we arrived, and I think both of us, both you and I, Pat, heard a lot of anecdotal just stories when we arrived, and you obviously prior to me. And around 2016, thanks to a conversation with the Council of Presidents, as a college, we started reaching out to a national researcher on this, to Dr. Sarah Goldrick-Robb, and she encouraged us to do a few things. And with your support and guidance, we actually administered a USDA survey to our students in fall of 2016. So we wanted to take those anecdotes and see what data we could get and what type of issue we had here. And it was truly jarring, the responses that we received. In fall 2016, as I mentioned, the survey was administered, and we had more than 600 students. More than 10% of our student body replied. And what we found out was that 1 in 3 had experienced the lowest level of food insecurity in the past 30 days. And for those of you listening, just take a moment. The lowest level of food insecurity, according to the USDA, is called hungry. Okay, these individuals were identified as hungry within the past 30 days. These are our students, 1 in 3. Approximately 2 in 3 were at a low level. They were food insecure. So they were either at a lower level or the lowest level of food insecurity for the past 30 days. When this was just, jarring enough. And then when we took a further look at the data, we found out that our students in Lynn, 40% of the students who responded, 40% of those students, so 4 out of every 10 were hungry in the past 30 days, which was higher than the 1 in 3 on average. And our students who identified as African American or Black, 50% of those students identified as being hungry, the lowest level of food insecurity in the past 30 days. And with that data and the fact that we had students, after they received the survey, were coming to our crisis counselors and saying, our senior academic counselors who provide crisis counseling, saying, okay, so now what? You sent me this survey. What are you going to do? And based on that, we knew that we had to take action.
Right. And Jermaine, it was astounding the comments that students wrote into that survey. I read every single one, and at the end, truly had many tears because of an awareness that I hadn't really had, and I'm sort of embarrassed that I didn't really realize the depth of the program, of the problems. So tell me a little bit about what you did and what we did together as a college to begin to address this pervasive hunger.
Absolutely. So I think one of the most important things that was done as a college with your leadership was looking at the data and actually making a concerted effort to do something about it. Yes, we had it, and it could have sat on a shelf, and we could have went over it once, but we were all about getting this information out to internal constituents, to external constituents. Who could we partner with to address this huge issue of hunger and food insecurity? And you did that within your avenues and people that you knew, and then we talked internally in regards to what people wanted to do, faculty and staff. This was you mentioned at a faculty staff meeting. So we were thinking, what could we do to address this? And what came out of it were several large-scale initiatives. One is the mobile market. So we actually have a mobile market, one each month at each location, both our Lynn and Danvers campus. And in Lynn, we partner with Greater Boston Food Bank. And in our Danvers campus, we partner with two actual nonprofits, the Open Door and Beverly Bootstraps. And students have the opportunity to receive the 25 pounds of food each month. To speak to the coordination and the strategy, we've placed these in the month where we know that other mobile markets are not occurring. So our students could theoretically go to a mobile market every month, and because they're getting fresh produce, right? So what we realized over the past year is that almost 60,000 pounds of food was provided to students. Staff and faculty were also involved as well. More than 100 emergency food bags. That was just one of the initiatives. The food vouchers, we learned through talking with our senior academic counselors and with our other individuals who distribute those, that the $7 we had in the past was great, but it wasn't actually enough money to make a meal. So we had, when we were reconciling food vouchers, we had some that were like $4 spent, $5 spent, because they couldn't actually have enough money. So we upped it. We looked at the menu and said, what does it take to actually get a student a meal? And it was only $1 extra. It was from $7 to $8, but that was huge. That change came from this. SAVE is some of these philanthropic sources where we're providing student assistance for verifiable emergencies. So real life priorities like rent, bills. This was a fund that was established, but what happened after receiving this data was, okay, people, you can give to this. It's out there. We have this mechanism to support students. Really leveraging our relationships with community partners. As of right now, I mentioned the three that we have: Greater Boston Food Bank, the Open Door, and Beverly Bootstraps. We didn't have those relationships prior to us getting out there and doing this. We've also had individuals who want to volunteer and come and help with the mobile market, which we'll get into a little bit later. We have an MSW student now for the second year in a row, and this individual is primarily at our Lynn campus, but at both campuses, both Lynn and Danvers, and they help individuals identify resources, so support services, benefits, if they're eligible, and then help them actually apply. So we're trying to put students, one, give them the immediate need of filling their bellies, right? So they can actually learn. And then two, helping them attain actual kind of self-sufficiency in regards to what benefits could they avail themselves of. And then we also have our Uber partnership, which is designed to, again, increase access to education, really address these real life priorities so that if students can get to class, that's one less thing they have to worry about, right? And there's a point in time where they can apply to actually our Here to Help process in the Here to Help application, which can be found on our Here to Help website, which I'll mention before we close, is that students in dire need can actually have that transportation funded through North Shore Community College through philanthropic dollars if they meet a need, and there isn't an evaluation that's done for that. But that's another barrier. If we can remove it, they can then access higher education.
Well, over the last couple of years, you've done an awful lot. You've been integral to coordinating a lot of these things. Why don't you just tell us, as we close this podcast out, what people can do to help and how students can get help?
Absolutely, and it's been, the college's work and the community's work. Again, with your leadership, Pat, and our several departments who are staffing, the mobile market and who are running, kind of frontline every day, the Uber partnership, and our student financial services who are going through all the Here to Help applications. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to so many of the staff and faculty and community partners who are helping us address this. And to succinctly answer, so our mobile markets, they happen once a month, Pat. Come out, people, please come out and help us. There's three kind of components of it. There's the setup, there's the actual distribution or the serving, and there's the takedown. And they're all about an hour. We actually realize we have so much demand that the distribution piece is actually about an hour and a half now. Last year it was about an hour. So come out, talk with your supervisor if you want to staff it, if you want to volunteer, you're a faculty member or a student club or org. Help us. If you know a community group who wants to volunteer, let us know. Contact the Office of Student Engagement. Food vouchers and the College Foundation. And this is, the College Foundation in regards to food vouchers, in regards to SAVE, really contacting our Director of Development, Nicole Marcotte, because these are two beneficial pieces. They're so salient. I don't know if people understand the distribution of our food vouchers has increased just dramatically. We have students, unfortunately, but thankfully we're able to provide the support who are seeking 10, 20, or even 30 food vouchers a semester.
Wow.
A semester, right? These are issues that are drastically and negatively impacting their ability to seek education and be with us. So please, they're $8. A little donation could go a long way. So please contact our Director of Development, Nicole Marcotte, if you're interested in contributing to the food vouchers or our SAVE funds. And those are some big ways. I know we're kind of running low, so I'll stop there. You can see I'm passionate about it, but thank you for providing me the opportunity to share.
Well, Jermaine, I think we're certainly mission-driven here at North Shore Community College, and I know that everyone who works here really wants our students to succeed. So this is another opportunity for us to support our students, retain them, help them get to completion. And so I hope that folks listening check out the information on our website. Again, Dr. Williams, thank you so much for spending some time with us today to inform us about all that you and your staff and the volunteers and everyone involved is doing to address this issue. I'm grateful. Thank you. This is Dr. Pat Gentile, President of North Shore Community College. I hope you learned something useful listening to President Pat's podcast. Until next time, ciao.